What is up, everybody? Welcome in to another Sunday edition of More Important Issues. I know it's not necessarily how we wanted to reconvene as a group here, but the Vols are still in Omaha. There's no reason to freak out. You played a good Virginia team with a guy that was on the mound that just wasn't going to be effed with today, apparently. I mean, I top texted you like in the top or the first inning, bottom of the first, and I was like, that fastball high in the zone is nasty. And he used it to his advantage. And hey, like I said, we're going to relax. Vols are in Omaha. We're still here we're good. We're fine. No big deal. No sweat off our back. We'll just go win 4 games. How about that?
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate to have that outing after not being in Omaha for 16 years, but kind of like you said, it was Virginia's day. It just wasn't Tennessee's day. I don't think it was a lack of effort, and I think Tony Vitello said that after the game today. Just nothing. You just didn't execute. I mean, you couldn't score runs. You had opportunities and just didn't capitalize. And Virginia did capitalize on some of those on their opportunities.
Right.
They had a pitcher who absolutely shoved it today. And you mentioned that freaking high heat, and you knew it was coming. Like I was calling it out, and I'm not a baseball expert by any means. So when I know it's coming, that hitter up there knows it's coming too, and we just couldn't touch it today.
Yeah, and he did a good job of, and then Tom Hart and Chris Burke, and they were talking about how he was doing a great job of kind of leading up to that, and he did, and not just him too. I mean, he had guys in the field making plays for him. I mean, Vols are at least have one on the board. I believe it was Spence that had that line drive that a foot right or a foot left, you probably gets into right field, and Tennessee's got a runner on, and someone on the board down 3-1, I think. So it's just unfortunate. Virginia made some plays. Tennessee, unfortunately, when the opportunity came to make plays, they just weren't able to capitalize. But hats off to Virginia. We talked about it. There's some plays where you get frustrated your team can't make it. There's some where you just kind of got to stand up and tip your cap. I think today, there's some frustration, but I think there are a lot of plays that you just stand up and tip your cap to Virginia. And as annoying as the callback to the dad every single time, that kid had a day.
Oh yeah, I mean it was like I go back to, it was Virginia's day. It was his day. I mean, he hit his first home run he's hit all season long at a huge ballpark, and I don't think he had a hit in the regionals or super regionals. And he is 3 today, and 2 were for RBIs. So, just like you said, tip your cap. I mean, there's not a lot you can do about when it's another Tennessee thing where we run into a team of destiny, and that's what it seemed like with Virginia today. And I tweeted that out today, and somebody said, that could be said for Tennessee up to this point. It seems like Tennessee's been the team of destiny up until today, and it just was not their day.
Yeah, and it happens, but we will kind of dive into that game more. Talk about Tennessee's next opponent, who you actually won't know until after the game that's being played right now. It was in the 3rd inning before I kind of hopped on, which was about 7:45. So maybe they're into the 5th by now. It was 0-0 with Mississippi State and Texas. You're in Omaha. 2 good ball teams. There's not necessarily anyone you want to face, and it's going to
1-0 in the 4th.
Okay,
State.
Gotcha. Obviously nothing's going to come easy. I don't know if there's necessarily a good matchup for Tennessee, but you are kind of you've got an uphill battle the whole way. We talked about with that regional how big that walk-off was. First off, it was awesome, but how big it was to put Tennessee in a really, really good position for that weekend. Your job just got harder. It's part of losing. Thankfully, in baseball, you have moments to bounce back, but it definitely gets harder for Tennessee. We'll talk about the College World Series as a whole. It's some great games yesterday. I couldn't watch the Vanderbilt game but I'm glad I didn't get to, because apparently the Vandy Whistler was just going at it. So that was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So I don't watch enough Vandy baseball to really care about the Vandy Whistler, but is it constant?
I think it's any time that Vandy, like an opposing batter, is like an at bat.
He does it the whole time.
I mean, like, like when the pitch is about to come in and stuff. Yeah, I think so.
Somebody needs to karate chop him around the neck.
Right. I'm trying to remember the last Vanderbilt game that I watched this year. It was a home game, so he was there. And I remember thinking, like who's gonna do this? Who's gonna get off this guy? Like, this is ridiculous. I don't mean that literally. I mean just Vanderbilt, like, kick him out for good. By the way, That's what I mean by often. Don't anybody murder him. But yeah, so it is very annoying. But hey, great time. Congrats to the Berries. Great time at the wedding yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm paying for it today, but yeah,
I'm paying for it. Paying for it, but it was a lot of fun. We will we'll also get into some recruiting news. Tennessee football's obviously got a lot of focus right now. I mean, which is they're speaking of uphill battles. Whew, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. We'll talk some recruiting news though. We got questions. Drop them in the chat if you've got them. Someone has already mentioned in the chat that DC Vol Girl said Mississippi State's now up 2-0. Also said it is constant, the whistling. I mean, at the at bats, I don't think he whistles when Vanderbilt's batting though. So like he is getting a break during the game. Good for him.
Yeah, imagine how much water that man consumes.
Right. He looks like an obnoxious sports fan too. Have you seen him? Picture of him?
Yeah, he's got the slick back hair.
Yeah, we talk about fights in arenas. Like he looks like a guy that would get in a lot of fights.
Yeah, yeah.
So
he definitely wears cargo shorts too.
Yeah, he does. Herb Goni, he said we want Texas Tuesday. I mean,
I just want a dub.
Yeah, definitely want a dub. I mean, let's not forget what we did to Mississippi State not even a month ago, though.
Right. Yep.
So it is a little bit different ball game in the sense that it's Omaha, baby. It's hallowed ground. Omaha. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. Also, go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. Here's a quick word from our good friends at Blue Water Climate Control.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something, and it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
Guys, we appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick break, get into our intro. We'll see you on the other side.
Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins. Got it by Tennessee to one Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Everybody for you, them 6 men.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit to do and welcome into more important issues. It is Sunday, June 20th. The Vols are in Omaha. We are not. I know last show probably threw you off because we were live from Omaha and it wasn't game day, but we're not there. I know that was some magic from our side, and of course with
this is a fake background.
Yeah, we got a nice assist from Vols assistant coach Ross Kivett, and listen. I know today and the way Tennessee fans wanted it to go. I know with like everything, a lot of people were like, this was Tennessee in terms of like a letdown. It's not the same. First off, like we can't equate what Tennessee did in 2016 to what Tennessee baseball has done this season. They've won 50 games. They are in what we know what is, I know it's 8 teams, but what is essentially the Final Four, just to relate it to a sport that most people are familiar with. They're in the Final Four of the college football playoff at this point. It's not the same. Also, I mean, Tennessee had its chance. Like they had legitimate chances. They put themselves in some good positions and just weren't able to finish. Like it wasn't. Tennessee didn't just go out there and get absolutely whooped today. I know the scoreboard kind of makes it look like it, but they didn't. That wasn't the case. Virginia played good baseball. It was just it's just one of those games. It's going to happen. You're going to lose. Now you got to respond on Tuesday to Mississippi State or Texas, whoever you play. But this isn't. I don't know. I understand it's like a gut punch and you kind of expect it. But as a Tennessee fan, like I think that's what most people meant. But this is not the same to the football in 16 or football in 15 that gave up blew 15-point leads at every game. It's not the same.
Yeah, and this team hasn't lost 2 games in a row since Indiana State back in February. It was one game because one day it was a doubleheader. They lost 2 games in a row to Indiana State on February 27th. So I like her chances to kind of bounce back. You got your feet wet a little bit today. I'm not saying that moment was too big for them, but it just I'm sure there were jitters and things like that. But yeah, you mentioned Tennessee kind of had they were in good positions. I mean, in the first inning, you had them right where that was a start you wanted. Guys with runners on the corners, no outs or maybe 1 out, and you just couldn't really get anything after that. And then 2 more times you had, I think it was 3 times in the first 6 innings where you had 2 runners on with no outs, and Tennessee couldn't get a single run out of it.
Yep.
And we're talking about one of the best offenses in the country, and to not be able to get a single run is just it's just not the same team that you've seen all season.
Right.
So I look for this team to bounce back. Chad Dallas, I thought he pitched well enough. It got away from Tennessee a little bit in that 7th inning. But I mean, he had one mistake probably in those first 6 innings. So I think it was. I don't think it was lack of effort. I think just Tennessee just had trouble executing. They're 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and Virginia was 4 for 12. That was kind of the difference in the ball game was that, and then obviously the 7th inning when they're able to play 4 runs.
Yeah, and you talked about too just how good Virginia played. They capitalized on those moments, getting when they got runners into scoring position. They also did. A lot of people, I think it was Tom Hart that mentioned it, that Virginia must have done a really good job scouting Sean Hunley. He comes out of the bullpen and he has a little bit slower release than Chad Dallas, and they take advantage of it and get some stolen bases in there to get more guys into scoring position. That adds on more runs, and Virginia just kind of took care of the things they needed to take care of. Made some really good. I think it was the double play. It was definitely an end to end. It might have been the 9th inning. It was a phenomenal double play.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a couple really, really good plays there, and especially from their infielder, shortstop, and second baseman. That definitely were big swings in the game, and it's tough too. Tennessee getting guys in those moments they can't finish, and you see the kind of like that clock ticking on you. I know baseball doesn't actually have a clock like football or basketball, but you see, all right, we're in the 6th inning now, and we just can't get a guy in. We can't bring a guy home. It definitely starts to kind of wear on you mentally. It hangs in the back of your head, and it Tennessee just wasn't. They also you talked about how many pitches did we really see today that you were just like that's it. Like there weren't just, you mentioned Chad Dallas maybe made one mistake. The 2 guys for Virginia that pitched today, I don't know if they really had one bad pitch that was just regrettable that you're like, oh, that was it. Like that was it.
Well, I mean they didn't give up a single extra base hit to Tennessee today. And, again, talking about one of the best offenses in the country, weren't able to utilize the home run ball, which, we talked about how it's not really been an issue for Tennessee, but they do make, I think they lead. Jake Rucker, I know, leads the SEC in doubles. Tennessee wasn't able to get a single extra base hit.
Also, to touch on the home runs real quick for those Vanderbilt and Arkansas fans that were like, Tennessee won't hit it out of the park. They had nothing to do with Tennessee just didn't even have a chance to hit a home run today.
Oh yeah,
Like there wasn't a ball that flew short that you're like, that's out in Lindsey Nelson, but not out here at TD Ameritrade.
and they barreled some balls up. I mean, Liam Spence, he hits one. Yeah, if it's a little bit more to the right, it's probably a hit and scores a run. Drew Gilbert hits one that ends up going foul, but inches away from being a double down the line. And you barreled some other balls up that were just hit right at somebody. So again, just not Tennessee's day. And it looks a lot worse than it actually was. But you're talking about a 1-0 game heading into the 7th inning. I like Tennessee's chances in that because you're thinking, hey, we're going to get to their bullpen, get a different pitcher in there, switch some things up. But, Tennessee just a team that doesn't strike out a lot, had 13 strikeouts today. And I think the 3 batters in a row, it was Beck, Lipsius, and Russell right there in the lineup, accounted for 9 of those 13 strikeouts. So, some of Tennessee's big power hitters just couldn't find it today.
Yeah, and that you talk about if it's your the 3 guys you can kind of look to throughout the year, that kind of going back to that mental, that does definitely wear on you as well. Right. Today was just an overall tough day for Tennessee, but also I do expect them to bounce back. I'm not saying I'm not saying they're going to go beat Mississippi State or Texas, but I do expect at least a better showing, maybe putting themselves in better positions and then now capitalize on the plays just because they bounce back all year. It's a long season. They've had bad games or games where they just couldn't find whether it be getting guys in a scoring position and not capitalizing or just not actually getting into good play. Like they've always bounced back. This team hasn't shot away yet. I don't expect it to happen. And I'm with you. It didn't seem like the moment was too big. I thought Virginia just played really good, and their best beat Tennessee's best today.
Yeah, and I think that they've been hampered by errors and stuff, and they made a ton of plays, didn't have a single error. It was kind of like the best performance Virginia's had. I think we mentioned the last time we were on here that Virginia's, I think they're 6-0 in elimination games since the NCAA tournament, and they've in the regional and super regional they've lost the first game. So I felt good going into today. I'm like, hey, they'll probably lose this one.
Well, hey, maybe that flips that script. Maybe
it does.
Maybe the elimination game is now kind of looming there instead of the first game.
Yeah. Hopefully it's an outlier because I don't want to see Tennessee blank another one come Tuesday. Like you said, I think this team bounces back, finds something. Blade Tidwell will probably be on the mound. But you also have Chad Dallas, who only pitched 63 pitches. So you could see him. Tennessee's able to win a couple more games. I think you could see him maybe later on in the week with one of those. If you're having to play that team, you're going to have to beat a team twice if you keep winning. So maybe you see Chad Dallas later on in the week. But yeah, if you're looking at a positive, I guess that's it. And today's over. Well,
that's another thing too. You talked about like this Tennessee having 13 guys struck out. I mean, you weren't giving it easy. You talk about how this team can really kind of work the count, and that usually does help them get on base, and it's usually a much it usually plays in Tennessee's favor. But today, I mean, I'm blanking on the Virginia pitcher's name. Abbott, he was tough. He hung in there. He ended up with right at 100 pitches.
Yeah, a little over 100 pitches, I think.
I mean,
I got to pull it up here.
Yeah, you took him far.
104.
That's not like you did a pretty good job of really making him work for it. I mean, even Matt Wyatt threw 45 in relief. Like, you made them work for it, and they just kind of came out and kept responding. And I believe it was about the 5th inning. I was like, we were making better contact with that high fastball, and I was like, all right, I think they've kind of settled in and maybe started to figure it out, and their eyes aren't really fooling them. And then, sure enough, again, he figures out a way to make them, I don't know. Like I honestly don't know what it was. Why he was able to do it all day. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but he did it all day. 104 pitches.
Yeah, and throwing it pretty consistently. And then Matt White comes in and is throwing 96. So you didn't get much of a break from Abbott. He was that fastball had some movement to it. Yeah, just when they were showing Abbott was pitching, I knew he was a good pitcher, and he's probably going to be, a top 5 round guy in the MLB draft.
I think they had him projected at 64 is what I saw. I think on the
okay.
I think they showed that.
That's probably top 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah. But yeah, I saw where he had 6 losses. I'm like, okay, well, that makes me feel pretty good. When you have Chad Dallas, who was 11-1 at the time, I'm like, okay, well, I feel pretty good. But apparently he's given up a ton of runs in his last couple of outings. But then today, he's just had it.
He had it.
The changeup was working. He was throwing that heater with 2 strikes up high, and Tennessee's batters it's hard to lay off that pitch.
And you talked about the movement it had too. Like hindsight, you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't a good swing, but it had so much movement. It looked like you said, it's a pitch you got to take. And
yeah, just hard to catch up on a ball up in the zone like that, going 94, 95 miles an hour. So.
Yeah, and we do have a question kind of about Omaha. Scott Woodward, LSU's AD, is in Omaha. DC Volgirl asked, do we really have Tony locked down? I mean, I would never count a coach completely like in or out. I really hope there's not I'm not just talking about Tony Vitello here. I hope there's not a single coach meeting another athletic director while they're in Omaha for the College World Series.
Correct.
Like, I can't even imagine why Scott Woodward would even be there to do that. He's probably there. There's other college coaches there, first off, that aren't participating. There's other ADs there that would probably talk to, that Scott Woodward in terms of like, hey, here's a guy in a conference or a guy that I've been looking at that, and they're not giving them their top choices in case anything goes south in their own programs, but they're all buddies. He'll throw him his 3rd or 4th guy that he's got in mind.
Yeah, I think Chris Bird kind of mentioned it today, and he was like, if Tony Vitello was looking at that job, he's asking himself, is that situation a lot better than the situation I'm currently in? And I know from a historic standpoint, yeah, LSU is probably a better program. Their stadium's better, their facilities are upgraded and stuff. But if Danny White is given that same commitment to Tony Vitello, how is that program in any better shape than Tennessee's right now?
Yeah, and those problems are all very fixable. And even the next problem I'm going to name is technically a fixable problem, but not in the sense of like anything Tony Vitello can really get done. If he likes Danny White and if he trusts his direction, LSU can't be better. A better situation, because you have to look at it as a coach. First off, you're not a kid who's only going to be there for 4 years. So you're not thinking of like, all right, what's the next 4 years like? You're thinking like, what's the next 10, 20 years look like? And I don't see how LSU's that much of a better situation for the far future than Tennessee. And I'm not saying Tony Vitello is completely in, but I don't think he's interviewing. I don't think any coach that is currently coaching in Omaha is talking to Scott Woodward.
Yeah.
Could their agents be? Maybe, but they are not.
Right. Yeah, their focus is on winning games in Omaha, not.
In fact, if I'm the LSU AD and a guy's willing to sit down with me while he's in Omaha with his team, I'm taking him off my list.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
because you see where the priorities are.
Exactly. I'm not. You're not going to be on my. You're not going to be a candidate if that's the case. But yeah, they are there. And I'm sure. They're. Like I said, I would say there are a lot of athletic directors and coaches and there right now, hanging out, and also USA swimming trials are going on. So there's a lot going on in Omaha. This might be like the biggest weekend Omaha's ever seen.
Yeah, this is they get all their money for the year. They can all their tax money and everything goes to their roads and school systems and stuff like that. Yeah, Tennessee right now is funding the whole city of Omaha as we speak.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And they're probably already out of beer.
Yeah, that was a thing. John Rahm just won the U.S. Open, and I won $90.
Nice.
So that's cool. Well, yeah, I won 90. We'll say that.
89.
I think it was actually 95. I can't remember. I'll have to look at the exact number. Yeah, I'll have to go double check.
Let's keep rounding up, Caleb. Let's go to 100.
Actually, I won 1,000. No, Dylan did, which was awesome.
Dylan won 1,000
on
that parlay.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty cool for John Rahm to win the U.S. Open. Anything else kind of about the College World Series? I know we had that great game with Vanderbilt, Arizona. You also have a team in NC State, 2 ACC teams who probably really shouldn't even be in Omaha. Like they got here, like you mentioned, Virginia was 0 in opening games, 6-0 now in elimination games. NC State knocks off the number 1 team in the country, the College World Series favorite. So 2 teams, ACC, that probably shouldn't be in Omaha and had no problem winning their first game.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you go back to that team of destiny and, is it one of those teams? I mean, we're talking about the NCAA tournament in basketball and you run into an Oregon State team who like, holy crap. And then a couple years before that, you ran into Loyola Chicago who made a Final Four run. So, I mean, yeah, it just seems like Tennessee's thing is to run into a team that just has it at that point in time.
No, yeah, and hopefully that Virginia maybe team of destiny thing gets squandered before we get to see him again. I hope Tennessee gets to see him again. That means they're alive. And I think it was who tweeted it. It was a funny tweet. He was like, my dad said, the good thing about losing the first game is instead of sending teams to the loser's bracket, you get to send teams home now. So I like that. I like that.
Sure.
I like that half glass full outlook.
Send them packing. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
That's what we like.
Big fan of the half glass full. So I did like that comment.
Yeah, I mean that is the good thing. Yeah, like today was not great at all. But then, hey, we're not out of it. It's not like the NCAA tournament basketball where you're done,
right?
If you lose a game. So yeah, I like the double elimination. If you do have an off game, I mean it's going to be tough to get back. But Tennessee did it in Hoover just not even a month ago.
Yep,
losing their first game and then making a run all the way to the championship. So hopefully we got some magic left in our sleeves. Hopefully this team comes together and decides they're not done playing baseball yet.
Yeah, and don't expect them to roll over. This team hadn't yet. Don't see it happening now.
You got the Whitney shirt on?
Oh yeah, and got a couple compliments when I went to go pick up some food today. So yeah, I got good pizza, but stomach was not being friendly to me today. So
okay,
yeah, it's all right though. We're alive.
It's all that wheat, man.
Probably. Ooh. All right.
I'm tired too, and I'm
exhausted.
I'm hoarse.
I took like 7 naps today.
Yeah, my wife's been sleeping pretty much all day, which makes me tired because she like pulls all the curtains, and so it's freaking it. It was 1:00 outside, but it was dark in my house. So
I love that. That's awesome. Good for you.
I hate it. It's like a mammal's house. When you go to a mammal's house and you're just like
very dark, poor lighting.
And you just fall asleep as soon as you sit down.
Those are the best naps, no?
They are the best naps, but then you feel like a zombie after. Well, I do anyway.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I'm with you. At least your grandmother lives close. I have to drive an hour home after those naps. So. But they're good naps. They are good naps. All right, recruiting news. Let's talk some football. Tennessee's obviously, like I said, we talked about this last week. Everything's kind of like feeling like it is getting back to normal with, guys being on campus, camps being ran. You didn't have this last summer due to COVID. So this is it feels normal.
Yeah, we did have a question about that. Credence Wood asked, who do you think the commitment is that the coaches are teasing? I think it'd be the guy that the crystal balls are coming in for, and that's Masai Reddick, the 3-star offensive tackle from Detroit, Michigan. And one of his recruiters is Tim Banks, who is from that Michigan area. So I think that relationship was probably formed before now, and then Glenn Ellerby is obviously recruiting him as well. But yeah, that would be where my just reading between the lines a little bit, I guess. But you had some big time names in this weekend for an official visit. You had Addison Nichols, who I think would be a huge get for Tennessee. He's right around top 100 player, 4-star interior offensive lineman, 6'5", 318 from Norcross, Georgia. He's one of those that family is Tennessee fans. So I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse about the situation, because we all know how that usually pans out for Tennessee. But, I think it'd be a big get. Also, you had 4-star offensive tackle Ryan Brubaker from Denver, Pennsylvania. I think his family went to Penn State. So, again, how that kind of pans out for Tennessee. But he's taking some official visits to SEC schools like South Carolina, and then was in today or in this weekend with and then you had Taven Jackson, who was on his official visit last weekend, came back in for an unofficial visit. He traveled with his teammate, and that was 4-star. I think he's a defensive end, Caden Curry. And so he got some one-on-one time with those offensive linemen and a couple of these recruits. You also had a 4-star Emory Jones from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so right there in LSU country. Had him on campus. So a lot of offensive linemen on campus this weekend, but you had your quarterback for the future, or at least that your hope is for the future, and to kind of, peer recruit some of those guys and, see what happens. But, yeah, you're kind of playing catch-up with the rest of the SEC and in terms of recruiting. Another 3-star. I know a lot of people are saying 3-star U. It kind of is what it is. I mean, you just gotta fill a class, and hopefully you're able to win some games and get some more recruits. But yeah, you got to get guys who want to come to Tennessee right now, and there's just not a lot to really sell those guys on right now.
Nope. I hope in September and October, ideally November too. Hey, maybe even December, maybe even January. I'm just going to count all the months. Tennessee football is winning games, and I think if you're winning ball games, you'll see guys commit. The program overall. You talked about places like LSU. To sit here and say, looking at like Tony Vitello, would he? Like, it's hard not to be interested in that job and pique your interest. It's like if Tennessee comes knocking, you know who they are. So if they're winning games, it's an easy sell. I'm not saying you get everybody, but you get the interest of a lot of these 5-star, 4-star guys if you're just winning ball games.
Right, and you talk about baseball, the way that Tennessee has won games, you see the personality, how much fun they have in the dugout and things like that. Like recruiting should be easy.
Yep.
You're like, oh, yeah, Tennessee offered me. Yeah, I want to be a part of that. And you even have, I forgot to mention Seth, I think it's Halverson, Missouri pitcher, redshirt sophomore, announced that he's transferring to Tennessee. He was 4-3 on the year at Missouri. Was thinking he was going to be more of a center fielder for them, but ended up being a pitcher for him. Had a 6.00 ERA, 70 strikeouts and 72 innings pitched. And then, like I mentioned, was 4-3 on the year. Actually pitched against Tennessee on May 7th, and Tennessee was able to win that game pretty easily. But I think it's a good arm, and with a pitching coach like Frank Anderson, he'll get the most out of him. And I think it's one of Missouri's kind of bright spots, if you want to call anything a bright spot from the season. But yeah, big gift for Tennessee to add into that pitching staff for next year. And I think you'll have 3 years of eligibility. So,
I'd kind of forgotten about that because it kind of happened. Hey, Tennessee's still playing. We're not like Arkansas. We're not worried about recruiting. We're not worried about the offseason. That's you potentially could see some exits out of Tennessee's pitching staff due to guys aging out. Also, just going pro because they're earned it this year.
Right. Yeah, and then going back to football, Kayron Prunty. He was a Kansas cornerback, was in the transfer portal. He was on campus this weekend for a visit. He was a freshman All-American. I think all Big 12 Big 12 selection. So trying to add to that defensive back room. Not a ton of depth at that position, especially with the loss of Bryce Thompson and Key Lawrence and guys like that. So definitely want to add to that and getting a guy with some college experience and, with some accolades to his name. I think that'd be huge for Tennessee.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Anything else for football recruiting?
That's all I got, man.
That's it.
Just keep grinding.
We're going. It's going to be a real tough, talking about uphill battles for baseball. It's going to be a really, really uphill battle for football, especially until you start winning games. Don't dig yourself a hole by having embarrassing losses either, because that's going to really set you back. Right.
Yeah. I mean, like some of these guys, like their offers, like Addison Nichols, like he's wanted by pretty much everybody in the country. He's a borderline top 100 player with a guy that, no offense to Messiah Reddick, but his offer list, Ole Miss, West Virginia, are like two of his biggest offers. That's not really anything that you're gonna write home about or get excited for.
Right.
It just is what it is at this point. Like I said earlier, you're trying to get in guys who, you're trying to sell something like a vision, not really anything to put in front of them. You can show them a good time on an official visit and stuff like that. But when it comes to the direction of the program, that's all a vision.
Yeah, and that, like you said, that's all it is right now. It's not going to be anything until you hopefully start winning ball games. So we will we'll see what happens there. Texas or Mississippi State's still up 2-0 on top of the sixth.
Okay.
Texas's orange is so ugly.
I heard Chris Burke making fun of
called it brown.
Yeah.
People like, that was a big joke on the blind side. And I think that's like a big thing in the SEC, how ugly Tennessee's orange is. Comparatively speaking, Tennessee's got one of the better looking oranges. Like Oregon State's is terrible. Oklahoma State's is terrible. Texas's is terrible. Clemson's is good. Virginia's is almost a red. Like I'm not even willing to call it an orange.
Yeah. Virginia Tech's is weird too.
It's just weird because it's with red.
Yeah, like blended together, it looks brown
or whatever. Is that red technically? I don't know.
Brown,
purple. I don't know what color I don't know what the other color is for Virginia Tech, but it's I can't stand Texas orange. I think it's hideous.
It's pretty ugly.
And also, what is up with the power tee that their baseball team wears? It's like when you change one word in a paragraph that you ripped off from your friend's paper.
Yeah, but they can do that, but don't you dare do horns down.
Which I still don't understand that, because if you can do horns up, I guess.
I'm pretty sure I saw one of them. They went like that after they hit a double. I'm like, so you can do it, but no one else can? That makes... Again, it's like the Florida thing. They can chomp in our faces, but we can't do it back to them.
See, that's what Tennessee needs to like adopt the chomping as like one of our things. Like it's like how we celebrate, right? So then it cannot be used. Now, and we only use it to celebrate against Florida. So, but once we say that, like that's the magic, right? Like that's the magic word. Like, oh, this is just part of our thing, like chomp. Smokey bites. What do you mean? I don't know. Like it's like you said, it's so stupid that one team can use it and the other can't, because you're doing the same thing.
Right.
Like Oklahoma needs to just adopt this as their like one of their things.
Like using the daddy hat on we didn't get to use it on Father's Day, and
yikes.
Right. Yeah, it was just set up like we weren't going to win the day. Like it was just set up for that. It was, they released that daddy hat promo yesterday, and then today's Father's Day when we play, and it just, it wasn't going to turn out good.
The unbearable people, though, that are like upset. I sent you the tweet I was talking about.
Yeah.
God. I'm like, first off, that was probably, since the NCAA produced it, probably their idea, first off.
Right.
Second off, your team's good. People are going to want to do like fun stuff like that with you. If you're bad, they don't do that. because you're not in Omaha for one. So
right, yeah. I mean, it's been great up until this point. So
right, why would we stop using it? Don't use it now.
And I hate the Tennessee can't win on the big stage. Regionals were a big stage for this program. Super regionals were an even bigger stage for this program. So I just don't. I think that's a weak argument. I think those are the fans that have been fans for a month.
Yeah, and are you saying that about Stanford? They lost to NC State in not fantastic fashion either.
Can't win on the big stage.
Are you going to say it about Texas right now, who's putting up a similar performance to Tennessee? No. So yeah, I told you some people like that are what makes social media suck. So yeah. Overall though, I like 90% of you all. I like being on social media with you all. It's fun.
Yeah, if Tennessee goes out on blanks against their next opponent, yeah, maybe you could say that the lights were too big or the stage was too big. But
I think I think context is important though. You watch what Virginia did today.
Yeah,
I mean, they just played a really, really good. It's like losing to Purdue when the dude made 7 threes, 10 threes. How many did he make?
Yeah, something.
You weren't going to beat that guy. He was just on that day.
Something like that. Ryan Brown.
Something real white. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like you said, like we talked about earlier. You stand up and tip your cap and good game, move on. Like it's just one of those things you're going to run into. If you want to play for championships, then you're going to play teams that are championship quality.
Right.
I mean, shoot, Alabama doesn't win the college football championship every single year. Like, I don't know. It's just it's incredibly dumb. And two, this is Tennessee's. I'm not excusing like if the lights were too big or whatever, but this is also your first time here. I don't expect it to be your last. So it's like even if you do go out and get blanked, and it's going to be upsetting. Today's upsetting. You're a fan. You want them to win, but it also can't be like you can't throw out the whole season because of this loss. Only one team is going to win the College World Series. So should the other 7 just toss the season away and be like, that's stupid. Why do we even play it?
Yeah, the moment where Drew Gilbert hits a walk-off grand slam and to win a regional game, I mean that's a huge moment. Yeah. That moment wasn't too big for him. I don't think that today was too big for any of those guys. Yeah, I mean, there's probably jitters. There's probably jitters in the super regional and regionals. But I mean, Tennessee didn't have a ton of bonehead base running mistakes or errors or stuff like that. So going back to Tony Vitello's point, it wasn't a lack of effort. It was you just got beat today.
Yep, and it happens. And let's go get them on.
Yeah,
what just happened?
But you want to go out and win. I mean, Vol Nation showed up for you guys. Let's give them something to cheer about.
Yeah, Tennessee's got a good fan base there. It looks like Mississippi State's got a good crowd too. That game looks, there were some spots opened in the especially in the outfield during that Tennessee Virginia game. It looks like this stadium for Texas and Mississippi State, which I gotta imagine Texas fan base is massive. Mississippi State's, I gotta think baseball will travel pretty good. So, that TD Ameritrade looks completely full now, and should be a good game. They're going to the top of the 6th now, I think. Still 2-0. So
I think there was 22,000.
Oh, nice.
At the game today.
Nice. Yeah, it was definitely not. I'm not saying they're are like wide open sections. So there are definitely some open seats.
Right.
Definitely could have got a few more thousand in there. I think. I don't know what the. Do you know what it holds? So I can get that real quick.
24,000.
24. Okay.
I'm sure a night game helps too.
Max Todd said Vandy or Mississippi State has the best chance to win for the SEC since LSU isn't there. No one gave UT a chance to win the College World Series. Looks like they might have been right. I mean, I would say Vandy has the best chance due to their bullpen. Mississippi State, I think they're hot right now, and they've got a pretty good pitching staff too. But no one gave UT a chance to win. They were one of the favorites coming into the tournament. So I mean, the people who make all the money choosing odds did give Tennessee a chance.
Yeah, I think we had the second best odds behind Vanderbilt. So
I'm sorry, Max. That's not true. they did give Tennessee a chance. They were favored today as well. They just got beat by a good Virginia team today, and you hope to see them again, and maybe this time get to send them home, or at least maybe get to see them 2 more times if you make it to that final game, so the regional. Which that's not a doubleheader in Omaha, right?
What?
If you have to beat a team twice to win it.
It'll be the next day probably.
Right. But I didn't think it was same day, right? Okay. So, Tennessee's got a great chance to win, especially, if you can beat Tennessee 2 days in a row, this is for any team. If you can beat Tennessee 2 days in a row and the 2 pitchers you saw were Chad Dallas and Blade Tidwell, tip of the cap.
Yep.
Tip of the cap. So you'll get them there. Funny you mentioned that magic number, though. It wouldn't have won it for you today, but it would have made it real interesting, right?
Or does it? Does it win it? Because do those runs happen if Tennessee has that lead? Does the bleeding keep happening if Tennessee has some more runs on the board? I don't know. Or if it's a closer game, I don't know. It just felt like, Tennessee not getting the runners in when they had 2 runners on with 2 outs. When it happened that third time, it just seems like it was so deflating for the baseball team. So, the 7th inning was unfortunate. It sucked, but it looked like Tennessee. That was just like, well, good Lord, I don't know what else we got.
Yep. Let's see them get settled in though, and bounce back on. That's Tuesday. Do we know what time it is yet? I assume they have those games set. But
I think it's at 1.
At 1, okay. That sucks. Middle of the day, 2 p.m. 1 local.
Yep.
1 local. And right now, Tennessee will be playing Texas. Obviously, that there's still a lot of ball game, bottom of the 6th, a lot of ball game to play left. But Texas is getting into Tennessee territory here where they may not be able to score. So. It's funny, the other side of the bracket had no problems hitting home runs. 7 home runs on Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah, it was flying out.
And just 1 today so far? Or I don't know what Mississippi State's – I don't know how Mississippi State scored. But I doubt you get to 7.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, they haven't hit a home run, so just so 1 home run today.
1 today.
And it was his first of the season.
First of the season. I'm with you guys. It was annoying seeing it so many times, but that's an awesome story. They were able to get the dad the home run ball. That was pretty cool. And that section was loving it. It was cool after every time he made a play to cut to that section and get to see everybody, high-fiving him. And especially on that is almost like a movie, script written. Father's Day, dad's like 3 months, cancer free or whatever it was. He's like just now getting to go back to games because he's been so sick, and it's in the College World Series, like I mentioned on Father's Day, and your son hits a home run. Like, come on. Like,
how many daddy hats do you think were in the stands today?
I would say a lot. I saw at least one kid wearing one, like on ESPN. But I'm sure.
Oh, how old was he?
Oh, he was young.
Oh, so he wasn't like a father.
No. There was.
Okay.
I'm not willing to say he wasn't. Science is weird, man. But I'm gonna go with my gut and say no.
Starting early,
right? But yeah, that again, it is what it is. But it was. I think that's a great story. I hadn't heard anything like that until today, like about that dude or his dad or anything. So I don't know. Again, I don't know where you watched the game if you had sound. They mentioned that he almost didn't go to school at Virginia because I guess like right when he was supposed to go, his dad was diagnosed with cancer. So he was going to like stay and kind of spend his last, I don't know if he was told months to live or whatever, but spend like his last moments, there with him the whole time. And his dad was like, no, you need to go. And so like he was like very close to not even being at Virginia too. So
he was a pretty good catcher. Story. There were some balls that got away and he was able to block them. And when we kept getting a runner on third base, I'm like, well, crap, if we can't hit it, we can't put it in play, can we at least get a pass ball and get a run scored somehow, some way? But
right.
It was just, dude had one of those career days. The pitcher had a career day. And, like you said earlier, just kind of tip your hat to those guys because they had a heck of a game and a huge moment.
Yep. Absolutely. There was the Texas batter just showed a bunt, 3-0 count, 2 outs, no one on. Seems like an interesting.
Did he pull it back?
He did, but like real late.
Yeah, that's just a tactic that some people use to
try to get him to throw outside the zone.
Yeah. Or just kind of take away like
part of
it. If you're pitching to the mitt, you're trying to like cut that off a little bit.
Yeah.
Break it up.
Seems I guess that interesting tactic though, I think. Because like if you're gonna lay down this bunt, I'll throw it in the zone. If you're gonna lay this bunt, you're not getting on probably.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely pulling it back.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm like, I don't get it. Like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, that's
when I was younger, it'd be like they'd show bunt, but they would just like twirl it around in the strike zone.
Like they like it's like
like they would just.
Oh, what game is that? Where you like have to? It's like moving like constant. I guess it might have been a baseball game. I don't remember. And you like have to hit it in the, you have to get the ball in the circle or whatever. It's like that almost. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? I don't think we've had any dropped in the chat. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. Max Todd mentioned that Mississippi State's pitcher's on fire. I've just turned the game back on from the U.S. Open, so I haven't seen it much, but he did just have a good bottom of the sixth there. Any other questions?
Well, that's all I got. I was excited about today. I was hoping we were going to talk about a win, but it was kind of depressing.
I had champagne to pop.
I know, for real.
Not really. I wasn't going to do that. No, not too early. I'll save it for the College World. It's like the actual final.
Dude, I tweeted the GIF of the Tennessee baseball hats on top of one another, and I was like, we got two runners on, no outs. This is it.
I thought about trying to rally cap it, but I didn't want to over jinx myself.
I saw the dude in the stands, and he was rubbing his cap like that.
I love that he looked like he was giving signs out. I liked it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Some pine tar underneath the bill there. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're really dialed in. That's what we need to do. We need to bring pine tar to the games next year. The beer will never leave our hands, even when it's sweating with the pine tar.
I'm thinking like, so somebody brought a broom when it was like on Sunday when we were like going for the sweep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But what if like instead of like you bring your glove, we just bring a bat?
I don't think they'll let us in. No, I hope not. I hope they're not letting anybody.
You can bring a broom, but you can't bring a bat. They could both be used as a weapon.
I hope they're not letting anyone in with a bat. I'm not going to the games if they do. I've seen some of these crazy ass people at these games. No. I did. What did someone get into a game that I was like, that's bold? Oh, they were handing out those. Which this is awesome. We talk about great souvenir items. A minor league team had beer bats.
Yeah.
Bold. I know they're plastic, but bold.
That's true. Okay, what about the LSU fan who had a full LSU football helmet on during the football game?
That is interesting. That seems like that shouldn't be allowed. I saw a
BYU
BYU
the little
fan.
Kids wearing one, but like, I mean,
those are much.
We saw what Miami does with a helmet in their hands.
Yeah, like a full like Revo speed should not be allowed in. A BYU fan was wearing an old school shut too. I was like, first off, I've worn football helmets. They're not comfortable. And even if you get one big enough, like where, that's not tight on your head, it's also not comfortable.
Right.
So
it's a lot on your neck.
Yeah. Anytime you move, if it's loose, anytime you move, it's like shifting on you.
Right.
It's not good.
You got to buckle it up, man. You got to go. If you're going to wear a helmet, you got to go full tilt.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the helmets are interesting. It's you're getting into Georgia territory of the guys wearing the spikes on the football pads. It's weird.
Yeah, like the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah,
painting up and everything.
Exactly. Now that's some weird ones there.
Or the Saints, they dress up as like the Pope.
do that. That's pretty cool, honestly.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that. Yeah, they dress up in all gold with the big hat thing.
The Pope hat.
Pope hat. Is that what it's called?
I highly doubt the technical term. I just can't imagine. They're like, hey man, you got make sure you remember your Pope hat. That's the name.
Pope hat.
Pope hat. All right.
Me and Caleb did a dance off.
Yeah, which I feel like people are like, that dude is a douche. I did it for mine and Landon's entertainment, and I guess people saw it happening and were like, let's watch. And everyone stopped and watched. So
we both unbuttoned our shirts.
I took my shirt off.
You did take your shirt off. I couldn't. I did untuck mine.
Yeah, that was very, very unintentional. I had been staring at Landon for probably like 3 songs straight, just daring him to make eye contact with me so I could crump. What is it? Crump.
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 I thought you were about to say crop dust. No. We'll look you in the eyes so I can crop dust.
Yeah, the moment this man makes eye contact, I'm just shitting on the dance floor. Yeah, that was an incidental dance off, but it was fun. Like I said, great wedding. I had to leave Knoxville at 5:30 this morning. So
yeah, I was about to ask because you sent me that Snapchat this morning, and I was like, man, what time did they leave?
Yeah, Emily drove, thankfully. I pretty much slept the whole time, so that was nice.
She's a real one.
Oh, for sure. She had to work a 12-hour shift today. Bless her heart.
God, that's rough.
Very bad. Feel for it. Most important of the week.
Most important. How about Rally the Valley? Suns in 4, and then they win the day. Devin Booker's got a triple-double.
And the dude was at the game. He was a freaking – I mean, he was having the time of his life. He was, getting a shout-out from everybody. People taking pictures with him.
I
loved it. I absolutely loved it. Suns in 4 was awesome. Okay. I got one here. This is related to the U.S. Open. We've talked about this before and like how cool this is. You know, the like emergency goalkeepers for hockey, how it's like a random person. Yeah. It's not like anybody that's like technically so golf has a version of that. They have like, so sometimes the cut line like fluctuates based on whatever, however many people are in it. Like they take the top 60. Sometimes it's like a hard line. I can't remember how all it's done, but anyway, sometimes you end up with an odd number of people in it. So to like keep the pace of play, how it should be, they just bring in I can't remember what they call them. It's like a pace setter, essentially, pace car, but for golfers. So it's always like some courses have like because they're always really good golfers, but they're not professional golfers. Mm-hmm. And so some courses have like a specific guy for it. The Torrey Pines didn't have one. So the player relations director for the USGA, Jason Gore, played. And I think this is cool. The USGA CEO, it's his last US Open, and he was the caddy. So he carried Gore's bag for him in his last US Open that he'll do for his career. I think that's cool. Yeah. I don't really know anything about the USGA CEO. But I did find out it was his last one, and I don't know. I think that's really cool. So, and I think it would be awesome to be the guy that's like, hey man, we got an odd number for Saturday and Sunday. Can you come out and just play around at Torrey Pines in the middle of the US Open? Sure. I'll be there.
Love to. I had one. Oh, how do we forget Tony Vitello, Coach of the Year?
Tony Vitello, Coach of the Year. Several. He's gotten it from several outlets.
Yeah, I know Perfect Game and Rawlings was one of them. Baseball America, I think, was the other one.
Yeah, and we talk about it's funny. A lot of people are like, did they right the wrong of the SEC one? I mean, if Arkansas makes it, I'm sorry, Dave Van Horn's probably getting Coach of the Year. At least, I'm sure Tony Vitello gets at least a few or one. But it's, how can you not pick Tony Vitello, who's in Omaha, right, over Dave Van Horn? So like
Omaha.
Oh, sorry, Omaha.
Somebody, I did see people already blaming Peyton Manning for the loss today.
You know what's funny is people I feel like people act like Peyton's a fair weather fan. Peyton's been a Tennessee fan since his playing days.
Yeah.
Which we pretty much sucked since then, outside of, the year after he left. But, I'm fine with blaming him if we want, but we can't act, we got to give him credit for the 50 wins if we're going to give him, credit for the bad loss.
Right. Yeah. We won after, he threw at the first pitch. I think we lost that game, but we won the next day.
Exactly.
Won a regional, super regional, made it to Omaha, ticket punched.
Yeah. That's funny, though. I mean, you knew. I do kind of feel bad for Peyton in the sense that for some reason Tennessee's record is awful when he's around.
Hey, I do want to say this, though. If we're talking about records and stuff like that with, not just with Peyton, but I know Gray Jerseys didn't have a great record with football. They got a pretty damn good record with baseball.
Right. They do.
So let's keep those.
The Nike Grays, I think, are undefeated though.
Okay.
I think so.
Are they?
I'm pretty sure. You had Georgia in 15, Florida in 16. Whoever we played in 17, we probably lost in them. Georgia again. I don't know.
Yeah, that team was bad.
Didn't we wear them for a bowl game in 16?
Oh yeah, we did to Nebraska.
Yeah. So at least 3-1. But I want to say they might be 3-0.
Need to contact Chad Fields.
Yeah, he has it, I'm sure, somewhere on his Twitter page. It's probably deep in the files currently, but
right.
I'm gonna look up Georgia and Tennessee in 2017 football. See if I can find some pictures. Oh yeah, 41. Oh yeah, 41-0. Whew.
Why did we wear those jerseys?
We checkered kneeling too. Don't worry.
We just asked for it.
Yeah, we invited Georgia. We're like, hey,
we bent over and spread our cheeks.
If you're coming to Knoxville, you might as well kick our ass if you're going to come make the trip. That's a long haul. You might as well,
God, that's terrible.
Yeah,
we deserve that one.
Yeah, that's a fail for Tennessee. That's just a fail of the century. God bless. What about number 11? I don't know what I think he's wearing 10 at his new school with a Power T wristband on. How does no one catch that? Like taking a picture. Like, how are you not like, hey, we probably need to take that off?
Right.
I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of guys that play at Tennessee or play at Alabama that they're not. They're never going to be Tennessee guys or Alabama guys. Like, they're there just to play football and go to the next level.
Right.
Yeah, most of the guys in the NFL are like that because it's much more like a business. But, even then you have guys like that are like Tom Brady is more than likely, he never had it in mind that he was going to play for anyone but the Patriots. Like, things kind of just happen. But, like, I guarantee you he's a Patriots guy. Still.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like, Peyton's still a Colts guy. Like, there's plenty in the league like that. But obviously the majority are just business. So,
yeah, I don't even really know what to say about it. He knew it was on his arm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wear these and I know what's on my arm.
It's just funny, honestly. It's like I don't think he was trolling or anything like that.
This one right here, though.
Is that a Livestrong bracelet?
No, this is a Tennessee Vols that I got from a kid in a G10 parking lot when we played LSU in 2017.
It looks very yellow.
Yeah. There's no writing or anything on it. It's pretty gross.
That's I can imagine. I've got a fail. You have any more most important?
No, I don't, actually.
Okay. So the Brooklyn Nets, they had a country singer singing DMX songs at halftime of the Game 7, which, have you heard the country version of 99 Problems? It's pretty good. It's not bad. I don't know if I can't remember which song they were singing. They might have been singing multiple, but the video I saw, it was terrible, and the singer was terrible. It was awful. It was awful.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine.
I mean, it was real bad. Is that why they lost? I think you have to ask that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess is that their Peyton?
Yeah, that country singer, random country singer, that's their Peyton.
I mean, how do you lose when you're the Brooklyn Nets?
It's not.
I mean, I know Kyrie Irving isn't playing because he's got some. I don't know what.
He didn't bring the sage tonight or last night.
That ends. He's got 99 problems, and they're all him. But yeah, how do you lose when you create a team basically out of? I don't know. You just basically handpick them,
right?
I mean, those Kyrie and James Harden, even Blake Griffin, he's probably a top 100 player in the NBA. Maybe, I don't know.
Surely, I can't say yes, but
right.
Surely.
Oh well, you lost.
Yep. Any other fails?
I mean, them losing is kind of a fail to me. No, actually, I don't have any more. It was a weird weekend, man. I'm tired.
I'm exhausted.
Yellowstone comes on tonight. You haven't seen it?
I haven't started. I actually thought about starting it today, but I was very tired and opted to not.
I think you'd like it.
I think I would too. I just haven't started it yet. I'd like to. So maybe probably not tonight. Probably going right to sleep when we get off here. But yeah, maybe this week. I don't know. This weekend. It's rest weekend, boys.
Staying on the couch.
Oh, not moving. I might go play golf, but not moving.
Because next weekend is the 4th, right? Or not? It's yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I need a week of just chilling.
Yep. Yeah. Straight chilling.
Hopefully we're just watching some Tennessee baseball all week, and then I guess next weekend will be the.
Yeah, I need to look at the College World Series schedule. We can talk about that on Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I don't know exactly what it looks like either after Tuesday. I think you'd go Tuesday, Thursday, and then I guess on to the weekend. I don't know exactly what that looks like because I know you have to play some back-to-back games and stuff like that. So
Right. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all listening. As always, I know Sunday wasn't how we all wanted it to go, expected it to go, but Tennessee is still in Omaha, still have a fighting chance, and these guys haven't rolled over yet. I know 5-0, or 5-0 in the last 5 games is definitely a nice problem to have, but it's hard to win them all, and hopefully you go and win the rest of them. That's the plan.
Yeah, just Tennessee hasn't lost back-to-back games since February 27th, so yep. I don't see this team losing again. I think they're going to find a way like they've done all season long, and let's just go win the damn thing. You got to win 4 in a row to get to the College World Series, so you got to win 6. Now, I did say 5. If you would have won today, it would have been 5 going forward. But you got to win 6 games to win it all. And, Tennessee's proven that they can win 6 games in a row. They've won 5 just against LSU, so 6 isn't out of the question.
Definitely not.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a good week. That's all we got. We're bringing the boat.